Well, I think you got to work at both ends of the ice. It sounds, kind of generic, but defending is just as important as playing on the offensive side. And to me, being the type of defenseman that I am, body position too is probably the biggest thing. And you can do a lot with your stick if you're in the right position in the defensive zone. And there's a lot of guys who are bigger than me, so I got to try and put myself in the best position to limit their offensive capabilities. There's a lot of good players in this league. Pavel Datsyuk, he's been hurt the last couple of years, but the first couple of years when I was playing, he was probably the best defensive forward I ever played against, and he seems to try and outsmart me, and I try and outsmart him, and we just seem to kind of lock each other up sometimes. And there's always those guys when you go into that game, that they're always going to have an opportunity to do something on you. And again, Joe Thornton's kind of the same way, and you try and not think about it when you're out there. Yeah, there's, I can name countless stretches, every season when things don't go my way. For me, the biggest thing for me has been battling off the ice and on the ice, where I can go on the ice and play a great game, but there's always circumstances off the ice. I touched on it earlier when my niece is sick. The first couple games after that, I didn't play that great, and to try and get over that hump and really focus on my game and focus on the aspects that make me a good player were the important thing. And that was probably the hardest thing I've ever had to overcome, and it was away from hockey. I was saying that it's always positivity. It's let's look at the bright side of things. Let's look at the bright side of what can happen to her if she gets healthy. And got into the third game, I think, and I said to myself, if I can play a couple good shifts here, which is sometimes all it takes, is what can I do now? And had a couple good shifts. From that point on, my season turned around. So I was lucky that things kind of went my way, and I forced myself to refocus my energy on what I can do to help my teammates. There's always, unless it's the last minute of the game, even if that's the case, there's always a next shift. There's always going to be an opportunity. For me, I'm going to make mistakes in games. I know I am. It's how do I respond to that? And that's, I think one of my best qualities is how do I get over that hump of, negativity. And I try and instill that in the young guys in our team where, the season's a long season. We're going to lose games, and, we're not going to always play the best way. And it's how do you move on to the next day? How do you move on to the next shift? So, for me, I know that there's always going to be an opportunity to correct that mistake. Well, to me, it's pulling them aside, and a lot of times the coaches are going to try and be the aggressors and try and get guys going. But for me, it's I like to pull guys aside and reinforce the fact that they're here for a reason. They're good players and they're capable of a lot, and it's time to put that behind you, put the coach and the mistakes behind you, and let's go out there and have fun, because hockey's a fun game. It's always fun to be out there with your teammates, and it's fun to see the success that other guys can have. So for me, it's instilling that positive mindset in guys, so that when they do go out there, the next opportunity they have, it's going to be a great shift. Well, for me, it's just motivation. I don't like to lose, so it might be easier for me than some people, but there's games where no matter how hard I try, I just can't seem to do things the way it was. I mean, sometimes you play back-to-back, not a lot of rest. Mentally, you're tired. Physically, you're tired. So it's trying to keep things as simple as possible. The quicker that I move the puck, or the quicker that I can make plays, the less I'm going to have to do in terms of skating and making it hard on myself. And I'm trying to make the game as easy on myself as possible and my teammates. So for me, communication is a big part of that, where you're letting guys know where the next play is, because mentally they might not be as sharp as they were yesterday. So I know a lot of guys like me for that reason, because I'm willing to go the extra mile to help them. Well, for me, it's making a good first pass into my end. I mean, I'm a passer. I like to move the puck. That's what I do best. So it's getting out there, making a good crisp pass early on, and tape to tape, and knowing that it was a simple play, but it was the right play, and that usually kickstarts my my game. And there's some games where I need to rely on my partner, and he does too, where I can lean over and say, listen, I just don't have the energy tonight. I'm going to need you to help me as much as possible. And that's what teammates are for, and I try and do the same thing for other guys.